There's one thing that women want from men. Now, where is this coming from? There are many influences that impact the way we relate, the way that we share with each other, the way we communicate, the way we care for each other, the way we behave and think about ourselves and each other. One of them is biology. So I want to speak today more specifically to biology, but also the integration of culture, where we are today and where we've come from. When I'm speaking about biology, I'm speaking about gene activation. I'm speaking about our nervous system. I'm speaking about our evolution, how we've evolved to bond, to mate, to attract each other. I'm speaking to attraction dynamics. The one thing that women really want from men, and there is a great deal of research that has been done in this space, particularly by people such as John Gottman, is trustworthiness. Trustworthiness is what women really want. Now, as a side note, even though this video isn't about that, as a side note, there are two things that men really desire from women. And this is specific: men, women, women, men. I'll get to the masculine, feminine in a moment. But the two things that men really desire are to not argue, to not have conflict, and sex. They want sex. Now, here's something interesting. Research also demonstrates that women probably want sex even more than men. And there's some reasons for that. But when we say men want sex, it is really a gateway to intimacy. It is a gateway to being seen, being heard, being understood, being appreciated, respected, and validated. It's about connection, particularly those last three that I mentioned outside of connection: appreciation, validation, and respect. We want to be, as men, the heroes of the women that are in our lives, whether it's our mothers, our wives, our partners, our daughters. In fact, men would want to be the hero to all women. Now, that's not coming from a place of ego. It's not coming from a place of wanting that external validation. It's coming from a place of internalized utility. Let me explain that. We feel that so much of our value comes from how we show up in the world. Traditionally, aka evolutionarily, we've been conditioned and exposed to be in very hostile, volatile environments. We've developed much of our worth, much of who we are in the world through extending the perimeter, making sure that our communities, our people are safe. We've been responsible for being in very dangerous environments. We've had to move through and bypass even fear, or acclimatize to fear in a very different way. We've had to utilize hormones such as testosterone to develop deeper levels or greater levels of aggression to be able to survive in the wild. We have taken that, and we have to understand that our prefrontal cortex, which is relatively new in the brain game, this area of our bodies that analyzes and is responsive as opposed to reactive, and breaks things down and is very calm and collected, it's not necessarily very strong when it comes to it being in competition with the primal parts of our brain, the more reactive parts of our brain that really run the show in many respects. And it takes time to unwind those practices. So we want to be the heroes in the lives of the women that are in our lives. And so what does it mean to be trustworthy? Because today's video is really about, as a man, how can you show up being trustworthy? The one thing that women want is being trustworthy, but what does that mean? It means being available. Not being on your phone, not checking your phone. Your undivided attention is a powerful aphrodisiac when you're with a woman, especially a woman that matters to you. Whether you're dating, whether you've been in a long-term relationship, that doesn't matter. Don't consistently stare at other women or look around the place. Have your undivided attention on the person that you're with. It means being reliable and available. That level of availability, again, I want to go another level of availability. That level of availability means all of your energy is there. So physically, from a physical perspective, you're front facing the person that you're with. You're making eye contact. You're gazing, you're glancing, you're clear that they are in front of you and you're actively listening. That's part of being trustworthy. Being consistent is important as well. But let me come back to this front facing availability for a moment because it's really important. Traditionally, or evolutionarily, we have been side by side with our brothers as men. We have hunted, we have gathered, we have fought side by side. The woman in your life that you're attracting, that you're bonding with at an intimate, deeper emotional level, and we'll get to emotional vulnerability in a moment in terms of trustworthiness and being real and transparent, she wants you to be front-facing. And a lot of this is unconscious. This is unconscious activations that draw us towards people or repel us towards people. A woman is attracted to confidence. And there's another video that I've done on this in terms of attraction dynamics and what that actually looks like. And you can see that in another video. But right now, it's this trustworthiness. So this being available, this being reliable, this being present, it's so important, this being in integrity. Do what you say you will do. This is part of trustworthiness. Be consistent in your behavior, how you're expressing yourself, how you're speaking your truth. Be vulnerable. Share what you're feeling, but from a place that's elevated, a place that you've processed that stuff, that pain. A woman wants to know that you're capable of dealing with difficulty and challenge. So she witnesses you in difficulty and challenge. She witnesses you being unpacked and unraveling yourself in difficulty and challenge and dealing and coping with it. Listen, don't try and fix. Don't try and find a remedy. So culturally, in other words, our environment has conditioned us, and there's biological reasons for this as well, because again, we've been larger or greater exposed to danger in our environment. So we've had to suppress or bypass certain emotions. Therefore, we haven't got a neurological or behavioral or cultural habit of breaking down emotions. We don't have a habit or a practice of effectively dealing with and acknowledging our emotions as men, as males, but also as the masculine. So being emotional, being clear in who you are and what you're feeling is very important when it comes to communication. Often we go to what is familiar. So when a woman is coming to us and she's expressing pain or a challenge, we immediately want to fix it and bypass it or move through in the most effective, efficient way, because that's what we're accustomed to. That's what our ancestors have been accustomed to. That's what we have been culturally conditioned to do. But that causes disconnect. It doesn't develop deeper trust. It develops distance. And so the best way you can serve your partner, unless she's asking very clearly for a suggestion or a way through this, is to listen, is to hold, is to be present, is to be vertical in your spine, not to be slouched over. That is not attractive. That doesn't breed confidence. Be open in your body posture. Let her know that you're present, that you're there, that you're self-honoring, and that you're reliable. And your reliability comes through how you treat yourself and how you treat your partner on a regular basis consistently. Now, we're human and we're going to get this quote unquote wrong. But can you come back from that? Can you apologize? Can you take ownership of your actions? Can you learn and grow from your actions and then demonstrate that to your partner? And trustworthiness is built over time. It doesn't happen immediately. It requires patience. It requires will and determination. It requires effort. And so when your partner sees you and witnesses you and experiences you placing effort into the right relationship and into the dynamic, when you ask open-ended questions, when you're clear about what her needs are and you're able to meet them, and you want to meet them, importantly, that's where growth occurs. That's where that transformation occurs. And guess what? When the woman that you're with trusts you deeply, there's going to be less friction, less tension, less conflict, less argument. She's going to see you and appreciate you and love you and give you what you need as a man, which means more intimacy, more connected lovemaking or sex, more presence to you as well and what your needs are. And so if you can be trustworthy, you're also healing your old wounds and you're helping your partner heal theirs. You can't heal their wounds for them. And I've said this before, your partner is not your therapist. It's not their job. However, you can support each other in healing old trauma or old pain. And so many of us have experienced this. So trustworthiness is so powerful, not only for that person that is experiencing you being trustworthy, but also for your journey. Knowing that you are trustworthy, that you've got yourself. That is something to be very proud of and something to be very deeply connected to. If this message resonates, share it. I look forward to being of service. Power and blessings.